Welcome our team.
Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about our survey. This is the gender of our interviewees. So we can see the interviewees are divided equally by male and female. We have 16 participants and 8 males and 8 females. And this is our nationalities. So we have nine countries, and there are 5 Asian from China and Taiwan, and other countries are France, Italy, America, Finland, and Germany. And so we try to make our research more reliable, but because the numbers of the interviewees is too small, so the result of the data is not really absolutely correct. And the first question is that, do you have any electronic devices such as laptop, smartphone, or tablet? And yes, all of the 16 participants say yes. So we can assume that people nowadays have electronic devices to connect with each other or broaden their social network. And question number 2 is that, what devices do you use the most? And 69% of the interviewees say that use smartphone the most. And this one is smartphone and laptop. And this one is laptop. So none of them are using tablet. I think that it's because smartphones are portable and more convenient. If you want to reply the message immediately, you can type on the smartphone easily. And then question number 3 is that, how frequently do you check your smartphone? And this is, we ask that how many times do they check their smartphone per hour? And most of them say that check 5 to 6 times in an hour. It's like every 10 minutes they check them. And there are 2 outliers. One person from Germany said that he checked 87 times in an hour. And I don't know how did he count that. And another is male from America, and he said he only checked once. The question number 4 is, how many hours do you use your cell phone every day? And we divided the interviewees by female and male. So we can see the biggest difference is the purple part and the blue part. The purple part is 6 to 8 times. It's the the highest hours they use. So, and the blue one is less than 1 hour. So some of the interviewees use less than 1 hour on their cell phone. So based on the previous team, we can see that female often spend more time on their cell phone because they care about their relationship to others, but male seems like don't even care.
Okay, and the next question is using electronic devices the reason why you stay up late? And there are 6 people saying yes, 5 people saying maybe, and 5 people saying no. But I will categorize that 5 people say maybe into yes, because they just they are not that often to stay up late, but they sometimes because of using electronic devices, and they stay up late. So it's obviously that people often because of using electronic devices, and they stay up late. Okay, and next is, what are your most usual activity when using electronic devices? And obviously, the most people said that they're using social apps when they're using their electronic devices. And I remember that an Italian female tell me that because they're foreigners, they have to often use these social network systems to connect with their family, with their friends. So I think that's why the foreigners are often use social networks. And I think the special part is this 9%. They often use electronic devices to studying and reading news. And I think that 9% is only 2 people, and one is American and one is a German. Yeah. And next is, what would you choose if you could only bring one thing with you when you got wallet or smartphone? I think this is a really difficult choice for each of you. But I think this is they have 9 people choose wallets and 7 people choose smartphones, and we have 5 people that is in Asia, and which is Taiwanese and Chinese, and most of them choose smartphone rather than wallets. And I think most of foreigner, they choose wallet because they think that money is more important than their cell phones, and they think that they can live well without cell phones. And the next is, can you tell me how you feel when you forgot to bring your smartphone, and would you return home for it? And there is 7 people say yes, they will return, and 6 people say no, and 3 people say maybe. And I think the most special part is the maybe. The 3 people say maybe because they all say that it depends on the condition, like whether they have an appointment with somebody. If they have, they will go back home and take their smartphone. If there haven't any appointments, they won't go home. And how they feel about they forgot to bring their cell phones. Those 7 people say yes. They often feels about anxious, frustrated, and uncomfortable. And there is one special person said because they are boring, so they will go back home and to take their cell phones. And the other people say no, maybe they just feel nothing about it, forget their cell phones. Yes.
Next, will you feel nervous or uncomfortable when you are not allowed to use your cell phone? In this chart, we can find like there are 5 people feel yes when they are not with your cell phone, and there are 11 people feel nothing with your cell phone at home. And amazing is all of these 5 people are Chinese people. So we can conclude that Chinese people they think that cell phone are important to them. Question 10. Which one make you more nervous? When you have no Wi-Fi or your cell phone has only 10% of energy left. In this chart, we can see that 3 people feel nervous when there have no Wi-Fi, and there are 13 people feel nervous when there are only 10% of energy left. Because if you only have 10% of energy left, you can do nothing, and you can't even call a phone. Question 11. If someone challenges you not to use your electronic devices for a whole day, would you accept it? In this chart, we can see that there are 12 people say yes, they want to challenge these things, and there are 3 people saying no. And Amy told, there are a German saying, how can he check 87 times he uses his cell phone every day? Because he used a special app. It's checking. This is an app that can record how many times you use your cell phone. And this is another app, and I introduce to you, so you can record how many times you use your phone every day. Okay, and in the survey, we want to compare with the interviewees, the foreigners, between foreigners and Taiwanese. And for question 12, the internet brings more advantages or disadvantages to you. And both, we have the chart. Both foreigners and Taiwanese think that internet brings more advantages. And for question 13, is using the internet a simple pastime or an addiction to you? And we want to know that whether they think using the internet is for the leisure time or they really cannot control themselves to use the internet. And we can see that on the pie chart. We can see that the Taiwanese includes the Chinese and Taiwanese, and are more addiction to the internet than the foreigners. And that's really interesting because Taiwanese use lots of internet. And for question 14, did you find that you stay online longer than you intended? For foreigners, they think yes for 8 and no 3. And Taiwanese, yes 3 and no 1. And most of foreigners and Taiwanese think that they stay for longer than they intended. And for question 15, when you got the internet, will you want to go back to surf on the internet in a really short time? And there's some interesting part that the foreigners say no for 9 and foreigners do not really go back to surf the internet for a really short time, and that's really interesting. For Taiwanese, they maybe go back to surf the internet in a really short time.
And the question 16 is, do you like to communicate via the internet? Will it make you more comfortable? And the answer is, the result is that just 3 people said no and 13 people said yes. And so it's obvious that it's very common to see, it's very common to use apps to communicate or chat with friends in modern life. And there's a special answer. My friend, he's from France, and he said that he prefers real life communication, but internet is fine too. It won't make him more comfortable though, because he said that in France or in Europe, and people won't use a lot of internet while eating with friends or chatting with friends, because they think it's very disrespectful when talking to them. Yeah, and he saw that a lot of Taiwanese, they wait when they waiting for a bus or in class or anytime, they're just swiping on the phone and not for nothing. And he said that it's called tech indifference. And it's like this in the MRT or this or this. Yeah. And number 17 is, if you want to ask your friends to dinner, what would you prefer more? Invite them through the internet or in person. And 8 people said in person and 5 people said internet. And Jeremy said, see which one is more convenient, because he says that it depends. If you are with the person, so you won't need to use the internet, and if you are very far away from him, and you just have to use the internet. Yeah. And suppose you are heading for home after an amazing trip without internet. What's your first thing to do after reconnecting to it? I thought this question because I went to a trip on a ship, and there's no Wi-Fi on it. So, but I want to share a lot of things of the trip. So when I connect to the Wi-Fi, I post some pictures of the trip. But some people said check messages or post photos and social networks, and the most amazing one is disconnect. She said two females said that disconnect again and enjoy herself, or enjoy the silence, because I think it's very amazing, because no one will want to disconnect the Wi-Fi if there is a Wi-Fi, and maybe they just want to enjoy the silence. Yeah. And it's our pictures. And this is your, and the difficulties we met was that some of our questions are too similar, and maybe some questions are not explicit enough for them to understand. So we have to just explain it for them again and again. Yeah, and we got rejected too. Yeah. And it's our presentation. And any questions or comments?
Right. We can all come to the front. Any questions or comments? Is anyone checking your phone now?
Shadow design.
Right, so he likes the design of the slides. Okay. How about the others? York?
Oh, the graph is so so perfect. Well, I have no question.
Over here. Any questions? Jackie? Or comments?
Oh, I will ask first graph.
The first graph?
There's female and males. Then what's the green one? What's the green one?
Oh no, it's just it's nothing. Yeah.
Oh,
It's nothing. We forgot to delete it. Yeah.
Right, so don't underestimate your audience. Your eyes are sharp. Good. Okay, others? Question or comment? Anyone? Vicky? Good job. Yes, Kevin?
Apart from the German degree 87, do you have any experience or special memories from this survey?
Oh, he showed us his cell phone, and we really found that his app had 87 this number on it. And he showed that how many times he checked this Line, WhatsApp, and Facebook. I remember that. Oh, and this German told us he had left his phone home because he wanted to challenge himself.
So, according to your interviewees, especially the international students, so what do they think about Taiwanese using smartphones?
They think we use too frequently, and they're shocked by our using cell phones in class or anytime. Yeah.
Waiting for
Yeah.
Good. Any others? Okay. Well then, thank you very much. Thank you.